Hi, good evening. It is okay to kill if you are poor. It is not okay to kill if you are rich. Even you can win a medal in your life. Why? Because you have only one life. And you run your own Olympic race. Dude, when you are going to play for the game of your life, every system has to be in place, and that's how we will become the best in the world. You know, there were so many speakers here today and yesterday. Where do I start? Sports, the industry. I really was confused. Where do I take this? So I wanted to keep it from a perspective of how the billionaires, the millionaires, the Virat Kohlis, the Shikhar Dhawans. I just won a silver medal with Kenneth Bednarik, who's a 200-meter Olympic sprint athlete from America. I wanted to share these insights with you because as a sports nutritionist, I worked for about 2 decades and created a lot of Olympic level champions. The people in this room will build sports or get into sports careers. And I want to talk to you on the importance of why the athlete is what will make each one of us famous and or rich. So the topic today was about fueling sports performance, sports nutrition. By the way, if you have not been a sports athlete like me, I was a lousy athlete, okay? My genetics didn't allow me to get to greatness. And I decided to watch people and be the water boy and get water across to them and get the nutrition across to them. We need to understand that human performance first comes from anybody's body. We were talking earlier about how the most dedicated people are the support staff. They're also sports athletes. So what I wanted to do is first set a context for everyone in the room. Thank you so much for coming in today and listening in. It's very easy to get distracted on your phones and do other things. The takeaway from you from this first 3 slides will be this. Even you can win a medal in your life. Why? Because you have only one life. And you run your own Olympic race. Yes, you're going to build a sports business. You're going to do an event agency business. You're going to do all of that stuff. But I'm talking to you, specifically to each one of you in this room. Before you get to a hospital in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you will need to take care of your body. So whenever people want to win medals, they go after the luxuries of, hey, I need to buy a car, I need to buy a house, I need to get a second house in Goa if I want it. And then if you have a little bit more money, you go out and buy a high-end luxury vehicle. So the context over here is we are all chasing the earnings. And that earning is what? Become great in the space that you are. So are there any athletes in the room over here? I doubt there are any athletes here. Okay, I've got one athlete. You meet me personally, I'll do your diet plan and we'll win an Olympic medal together. But anybody else over here, I'm talking to you as a human individual. And this line is, and if you could please memorize this line for me. Your body is the most expensive real estate you'll ever own. So next time when you're out for dinner and you look at the rasgulla, ask yourself if you are a Rolls Royce, a Lamborghini, a Bugatti Veyron. Because at the end of the day, when the athlete, and I think one of the athletes was on stage and she says, "Mere ko birthday celebrate karne ka hai." Let me tell you something. To be at the highest Olympic level, you give up life. Okay? I've been there, I've done it with Olympic medals. So the question over here is this. I come from the department of nutrition, which is eating food. And if you put the wrong fuel into the system, it's like the other day I was at the signal and there was this Maruti car and it had a Ferrari sticker on it. Maruti car with Ferrari sticker on it. Maybe that was me in high school. Yeah, I think I can get onto the Indian volleyball team. I'm tall enough. And then I realized that I'm only a Maruti 800 thinking I have a Ferrari sticker on me. And that's the problem in our country. Every goddamn athlete thinks they are a Ferrari. Thinks. But when they have to think about doing the right things, there is a small segment of athletes. Now, to win in the business of sports, where do we start? We don't start when that Nikat Zareen is on stage and we are sponsoring her with crores of rupees to get her to win Olympic medals. We start at the lowest possible level, which is in the schools. We start there. And sports business will start when you have enough of an ecosystem of 1.4 billion people. Aren't we taking over the world? We are. In businesses. Look at Indian companies acquiring foreign companies. Half a dozen of the CEOs of foreign companies are Indian origin. Genetically, they may have American or European passports. What's my point in all of this? My point is that for too long we have thought of us being as ordinary vehicles. So how do we find the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris in the Indian subcontinent? So recently, I sat on a discussion with people who are funding athletes. And I don't think I'll be invited back again on any such discussion ever again because I was ruthless. Because you want to find the Olympic champion. And I sit in rooms with Olympic champions. My point to you is very, very simple. You cannot be giving money to athletes that have weak thinking. And so when I say you can't eat a rasgulla, as an athlete, you can't eat a rasgulla. It's as simple as that if you want to win. Now, I'll tell you what happens. You train really hard. Each one of you in this room, if you were an Olympic level athlete, you would say, I work so hard. So at the end of the day, I need to reward myself. And what is the reward system? Food. And that's where I lose out with the psychologist. Because the human mind at that point is weak. So we find people that are weak. But somewhere they say that I want to play for the country, I want the national anthem to win and all. This Olympics, I wanted to sit on the sofa at home and call out every Indian athlete. How many Indian athletes did a nutrition plan this Olympics? Around 6 or 7. The rest said they had a nutritionist. There are photos of what they were eating 2 weeks before the Olympics. So let's not kid anyone, okay? They will say that I worked really hard, oh, I was on my menstruation cycle, I got... Dude, when you are going to play for the game of your life, every system has to be in place, and that's how we will become the best in the world. We're not the best in the world. We're somewhere 50, 60 down the line. So first level is we are getting the infrastructure, we're getting the people, we're getting the funding. But the ecosystem in the industry has to change from a perspective that I need to win at all costs. A killer mindset. Now, where do we find this killer mindset? Do we find it in our homes? Do we find it in farms? Do we find it in schools? Where do we find it? I found that the killer mindset is actually your karma or your destiny, what you're born with. You know, they say you get these people with old souls in them. I have this 7-year-old golfer and he's already won half a dozen tournaments in US. And I sit in the room with a very rich boy from a very rich family. He's got everything going for him and he can't win any medals. There are people and you got to find them. Now, do you find them using a pundit? Or do you find them using the latest in science? You find them using the latest in science. Unfortunately, we're using that science at the top of the pyramid. We are not finding the athlete in schools. My son is the youngest tested genetic kid in the country. I didn't put him in any aggressive sports. Like his father, he's not inherited any great sports genes. There are genes out there. There's a wonderful book written by David Eppenstein called The Sports Gene. If you are funding athletes and you're sitting in this room or you're watching this on the internet, you want to be looking at what is the game plan. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead of my presentation. I just want to share one thing for everyone in the audience over here, especially the young kids behind, okay? Where is that? Can anyone help me where the fat cells are? Fat cells here. Okay? Shelf life is how long the fat cell resides in your body. How many years is that? 8 years. Okay? So for example, if you see your bone cells, they turn over every 3 months. That's why when you break your bones, within 3 months you heal completely. I'm showing you the fat cells for 8 years because we are the largest country in the world. Biggest population. You agree with me? Youngest workforce in the world. And the sickest population in the world. Recently, I was talking to a manufacturer of protein, and specifically whey protein. It's one of the most biologically powerful protein. I was like, "Bhai, तुम India में plant क्यों नहीं लगाते?" Sir, Indian milk is substandard. So I took offense. I'm like, "What do you mean? Our cows are not giving enough of milk?" Sir, दूध तो देता है, लेकिन what is the cow eating? And it hit me. If the cow's not getting good nutrition, how do I expect my Indian athlete to get good nutrition? So I'm building a case where you want to spend crores of rupees, buy the best coaches, buy the best equipment, get everything, get TRPs up there and blah, 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 blah. Why is BCCI doing so well? Because they are focusing on everything at the grassroots level. So we need to get this in Indian sports. So the shelf life of skeletal muscle. Where is skeletal muscle? Skeletal muscle. Where the hell is muscle, man? Huh? No, this is skeleton. That means after 10 years you have a new bone structure. But muscle, I think I missed out on muscle over here. Muscle lasts in your body for 14 years. Which means if an athlete goes to the Olympics, please give them 3 Olympics to win a medal and don't sit on their head. Give them the chance to win. 3 Olympics before you start shooting them. The athlete goes for 1 Olympics and everyone's sitting on their head like we are all armchair specialists. So I think it's very, very important for you to look at that. Now, I have had the privilege of working on 2 Olympic medals with Sushil Kumar, both the bronze and the silver. The insights into that is 1, any Indian, provided they have the mental grit and the support structure, can achieve brilliance at the Olympic level. I've also started working about 3 years ago with Kenneth Bednarek. My team forgot to put that slide in over here. I don't know if you can remember that slide, Times of India, the 100-meter dash. Did you see that? And all 7 athletes there, 8 athletes. It was microseconds to the gold medal. Kenneth has never qualified for the 100 meters. On a sports nutrition Olympic plan, we moved him to that level. So he won a silver medal. We could have won a gold in that relay. In the 100 meters, he says, "Nah, buddy, not my year. Maybe we'll come back in 2028 in Los Angeles." I'm sharing this with you is because when you sit down with these guys, you have this arrogance that nutrition is going to help them. But what you realize when you sit down with champions, and those of you in the business of sports, spend enough of time with the Olympic level athletes, the cricketers, the kabaddi players, the badminton players, spend 10 days with them. You will find the winners, then back the winners, and see how your TRP goes up. So the thought process over here is, what's nutrition got to do with all of this? When that person doesn't have a discipline in their own body, but wants to buy the best of shoes and best of clothes and best of watches and everything. So, upar wala cheez. But internally, they're not able to focus on the nutrition, which is basic human need. Then you know that it's flash in the pan kind of thing. Now, we need to start at grassroots level. I want to share this for those of you who have children, and especially to Sir Colonel, for all the children, okay? This is ICMR research, okay? Check out vitamin D deficiency. It jumps between 10 to 19. Quarter of the population of the survey. Maybe it's not as urban India, but let's say it is. Why does it increase? Because the children start playing video games and stop going out. First point. Second point, you check out Iron deficiency, 21%, 10 to 19. Folate, vitamin B9. Do you know vitamin B9 is responsible for anxiety and depression? I'll repeat that for those of you who are not listening in. You get sad, you get depressed, you get everything that you have. Did you ever thought it could be a vitamin B9 or folate deficiency? So when somebody on news or newspaper goes, oh, this person cut their wrists and did that and all, my wife says, you're the most insensitive person on the planet. I'm like, yeah, khana achhi tarah nahi kha raha hai. So please start looking at general well-being of health in this room as a general, on your vitamins and minerals. And if you want to win an Olympic medal, and I kid you not, I asked around in support teams, how many of our Indian athletes this year have done a blood test before going for the Olympics? It was very nice to know that there were many who skipped out on their blood test, not for doping, just on simple vitamins and minerals. So let's imagine each one of you in this room is an IPL team owner. You're worth $5 billion. You're going to back 100 cricket players or 100 kabaddi players or 100 basketball players. And in the analogy I like to use is, would you like to look at the players that you're backing, their performance? And what if there's a Cristiano Ronaldo out there who's 15 years of age? Would you back Cristiano Ronaldo? So when we are investing in athletes, I ask owners of businesses, look at simple things like blood test, genetic test. To screen an athlete once in their lifetime will cost you 45,000 rupees. I know of foundations that have spent crores of rupees on athlete, and I know, which is why I was kicked off that panel, I know that the athlete was anemic. The ferritin level was lesser than 60. In Norway, if the woman is below 60 ferritin level, she cannot get onto the Olympic team. What are we talking about? You want to back an athlete with low ferritin? Oh no, but Mr. Fernando, India has anemia. 60% of women have anemia. Let's find the athletes that have a winning chance. Would you back a winning hand or would you back an unknown hand? So the business flow over here will happen when people sitting in this room will be like, dude, nutrition is quite important. Is that athlete sound? Folic acid good or not? I hope I'm not getting too deep, but I was like, backing an athlete is marrying a girl without seeing or knowing her. Right? Blind love marriages. No, sorry, not blind love marriages. Blind arranged marriages. Love marriages, you know what you're getting into. For those of you who got a love marriage in this room, you'll be laughing like I am. So my point over here is very, very simple. Nutrition is very important. There are experts out there. There are experts in everything. There's experts in coaching. There's experts in strength and conditioning, experts in physiotherapy, experts in nutrition, experts in mind coaching, experts in biomechanics. Before you start pushing athletes out there, make sure you get all of this done. And the thing about the Ferrari sticker on the Maruti, that's happening in our country. So what all these athletes do? Dal, chawal, roti, gutter. Dal, chawal, roti, gutter. Supplement, foreign country. So the supplement is a Ferrari sticker. But if your basic engine, which is your diet, is not perfect, what are we talking about? So that comes to where I put this proposal out somewhere and they didn't like it. Thank you so much for this forum and giving me the opportunity to speak. I'll say it. When we have catering facility for our athletes, let the purchase manager be different from the caterer. The purchase manager should have a vested interest in the performance of the team, the athlete, or whoever's eating that food. And the caterer is buying the food that the purchase manager said you have to buy. Because when the caterer buys the food, think about this. Palak paneer. I am the caterer. What will I do? Cheapest palak, cheapest paneer. Arey banda to de do yaar. medal to nahi jeet jayega. That previous slide of nutritional deficiency is where we start. Stunted height growth. Dude, where are we going to win basketball matches, yaar? When are we going to win volleyball matches? When are we going to win badminton? PV Sindhu, successful. Do you know why? I've stood next to PV Sindhu. She's up here. I'm sorry to say, but you got to figure it out. Nations are winning because of the genetic prowess. We are 1.4 billion people. You think we can't find 6 foot 4 inches girls? We can. But most of the population that is getting into that direction is not being given the grassroots level advice, nutrition, and training. So food for thought. Athletes need better quality food as they grow older. I sit on the Indian Olympic Association's doping committee. My job is to educate the athletes to not take dope, which is steroids. But unfortunately, people think that, you watch the movie Need for Speed or Fast and Furious. There's one switch in the car. The boys will know what I'm talking about, right? They flick that switch and nitrous boost happens. Yeah, but if your engine is fatara, you flick the nitrous boost if your engine breaks down. Point I'm trying to make over here is that there is this thing that I need to win a medal at any cost, or let's remove the international fraternity and come down to basic brass tacks knuckles. India is a poor country still, and people are looking for jobs. By doping, I can qualify at the state, district, and national levels and hopefully get a job. And the cheating mindset starts then at the grassroots level. कि मेरे को नौकरी चाहिए, कुछ भी करेगा. Now I understand from a perspective that yes, you need to feed your family. But from a doping committee perspective, I've got to catch people, because the equivalent is like this. It is okay to kill if you are poor. It is not okay to kill if you are rich. Youngsters, you will be the future. It's okay to kill if you are poor. It is not okay to kill if you are rich. There is no disparity. Killing is not acceptable, rich or poor. Same way, doping as an offense, in my book, in my opinion, is not acceptable. So, what do? Teach people to do this screening. Tell a 12-year-old, 15-year-old girl, beta, you're not capable of getting to the Olympic level. Now, you will tell me I'm shooting somebody's Olympic dream. Some of us have to be evil on this planet and do that for the greater good of the country getting to the next level, because that person would be like me, useless at sports but become a great sports nutritionist one day. There are multiple dreams that we can approach, but cheating and not knowing are two things that I'm calling out people on. So let me give you some big hacks, and I'll open it up to questions, so you all can ask me questions about your diet, about your fat burning, or can you run the next marathon. Don't skip meals, kids. Grilled is better, high calorie. I've got all of this. How many of you over here follow me on Instagram or on YouTube? Most of my advice is over there. Please start following it. You'll get all of it, okay? If I see an athlete eating pastry, I know that they don't have the mental grit to go to the next level. And all of these foods, forget all of these foods up here. I want to share a story with you. I done an event where I was invited and PV Sindhu was on stage. Okay, so this panel guy was like, oh, you've done so well, blah, 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 and I've got ice cream for you. Now, what did he do? If you remember, she told Prime Minister that I had not eaten ice cream, so he offered her ice cream and she had a spoon of it. Now, this guy, 2 months later, puts the ice cream on stage. And I'm sitting there on stage. It's like, please, yeah, I'll have it. We finished the group discussion. We got off, we did the side panel photo shoots. The guy brings it to her and says, ma'am, you didn't have your ice cream. And she looked at him off camera and said, sir, I won't be having the ice cream. That, ladies and gentlemen, is her understanding what foods work and don't work for her. So you want to find athletes that are also getting aware, and it's not about winning that match point. It's about winning the game point in your life. And diet, nutrition is the biggest temptress on the planet. You put me in a room with 20 funded athletes, I will tell you in 2 days who's going to make you money and who's not going to make you money. Virat Kohli, the most stringent, disciplined guy I've ever met. Kenneth Bednarik, dude, you told me I'm allergic to gluten. My DNA says that. I'm convinced I'm not having gluten for the rest of my life. Oh, well, maybe after I retire, I'll have gluten. Look at the thought process. After I retire, I'll have gluten. But before that, there's none. If you want this presentation and these small links, my team has put together how foods can improve performance. I'd like to share something over here, which is not there on my presentation. Beetroot juice increases oxygen carrying capacity by 24%. So you see a lot of people, a lot of support staff recommending beetroot. Beetroot in Hindi is what? Chukundar, right? So you want to have more beetroot, boiled, baked, fried, whatever. When you work with an expert, I was like, wow, why? Oh, it's got something called nitrates in it. What does nitrates do? Dilates your blood vessel. So I'm that Maruti with Ferrari, so I go in, I'm the mechanic, open up the cars like, dude, but beetroot doesn't have the highest amount of nitrates. Butterhead lettuce does. Research was conducted on beetroot because it was easy to store and gather and use in scientific lab experiments. But the item which has the highest nitrates is butterhead lettuce. So Ryan Fernando's athletes get butterhead lettuce. Saab, kahan milega? Ye butterhead lettuce. So I'm sharing this point with you is one is the experts, the coaches, the scientists in your team will constantly try to win you that medal. I put any one of you on an India team, you will use ChatGPT, you will use the internet, you will use reading, you will call up your friends to try and figure out the best possible level for that athlete because izzat ka sawal. So if you want to get in touch with me, this is the QR code. I want to take questions because I think it's more important to ask you, what is it that you want to know from me? Yes, we have a question over there. Can we have the mics? I know I've gone ahead, but I'd like to give questions out.
Hi, love your presentation.
Thank you.
It's really insightful and inspiring. My question is, I call this a binge eating generation. We guys still had like when I was growing up, ghar ka khana, and now Zomato, Swiggy, in every household, like kids do order, we do. Like there is for one child, food coming second, parents coming third. So there is really a need of the hour to focus on nutrition. How is it possible to start from schools?
How is it possible, sir? Very valid question. I'll divide it into two parts. Part one is if you want to do it in sports, identify the children with sports and then put them into a certain category, which is isolate them and then start them very young. The Aam Aadmi children, right? The Aam Aadmi children is basically from a perspective that you can start teaching the children from a very young age in kindergarten. So my kid went to a Norwegian play school. They have a curriculum of what is good, bad and ugly in food. Fast forward to first standard when he went to a normal CBSE school, and from first standard to 10th standard, there's nothing taught about nutrition. So the responsibility now lies on social media, influencers, internet and parents. For those of you who are parents in this room, it is your God-given right to correct children till the age of 18. For those of you who are kids in this room, the companies are creating foods that are making your taste buds understand that, wow, this is so amazing and so great. The greatest way a child can understand a food is good, bad or ugly is for parents to begin to have conversations with the children about food, teaching them about labels. So my 11-year-old son, so the other day he's like, Papa, one lassi came. Like, who bought lassi? You and I both dairy allergic. No, they sent one free packet of lassi. Don't drink it. So the 11-year-old looks at the packet and sees 4 teaspoons of sugar in it. So I've taught him that 1 teaspoon of sugar is 5. I've taught him that if he drinks that 4 teaspoons of sugar, it is 1 hour 10 minutes of walking. So, like anything else, today's younger generation is very astutely aware, but is also lazy because both parents are also busy. Also, we are no longer living in joint families. So you don't have the parents, the grandparents. Like my parents were over for 1 month. Oh man, there was so much of discipline in our house. And my mother's like, you not disciplining your son. You need to tell him to do this. You need to do that. I'm like, come live with me. No. Who's asked you not to live with me? So parents even are going away, or we are choosing to live away from our parents or joint families. So I think this is a social problem. We are largest population, youngest workforce, but sickest population. There's one solution. Whenever I've worked in children academies, sports academies, schools, so in Bangalore we have half a dozen international schools, all I ask the parents to do a voluntary blood test between 12 and 16. Those children who voluntarily do the blood test, do you know 90% of them have vitamin B12, vitamin D and cholesterol. So the moment this comes in, we don't need to do anything. The child will know, shit, I got cholesterol. Appa has cholesterol, I should do something. But because there's no metrics to tell them that they're eating wrong, they look at us parents, hey, you only are not fit, you only don't play sports, you only don't do all of this, you only eat chips, you only eat aerated beverages. Oh, every Saturday night you're going out and having 6 glasses of wine. Our children watch us. So they're going to call us out for stuff. Best way, show them the truth. I hope I've answered your question.
I just hope that school canteens have like salad shops, food, and the canteen burger or whatever.
Ma'am, you're talking about school canteens and all. Let's talk about corporates. Corporates in India have cafeterias and all. Do you know when you change the cafeteria to healthy, the employee comes and gives you bamboo?
Yes.
First of all, you want me to work so hard. Then HR is coming and meddling with. So, food is very personal. It only starts at home, ma'am. And the number one person that will drive that is Dadima, Nani and Mother. Trust me on this. The houses that are controlled by these 3 women, the children will begin to eat healthy. And you need to have a very cooperative father who will eat whatever he's given. Then it works. Otherwise, anarchy. And bigger waistlines. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Ryan, thanks for sharing so much so deeply. I have been trying to get a sense of which is a good source of whey protein in terms of an organization or a company or creative. I know I'm a layman when it comes to nutrition. I'm aware that it would largely depend on your blood profile and a perfect analysis in terms of what works, what doesn't work. But is there something, because when I was going through YouTube, it's full of information, but a lot of it is conflicting. So whey protein is good, it's not. Creatine is good, it's not. So I just wanted to know if there's a source that we can refer to when it comes to our own self-understanding, or what supplement we can take when it comes to some of these things, and what is something that we should look at all.
Okay, so I'll answer your question in 2 parts. First part, the consumption of any nutritional supplement should always be taken under the guidance of a doctor. I'll put a bracket over here. Most doctors do not know about supplements and nutrition, they know about drugs. The doctors that do know about supplements are the ones that really take the time to learn about it. Therefore, you connect with a sports nutritionist or a medical nutritionist. They would have the necessary knowledge. Now, let's assume you want to self-learn. If you want to self-learn, there are 2 departments. One, is it for me or is it for me to give recommendation? If it is for you, you start first with what do I test for? You test for food intolerance blood test to determine the protein food source first. So instead of going to whey protein, the first question, what is whey? Milk. First question is, does milk agree with me? Yes or no? Yes. In milk, which milk? Goat milk, cow milk, or camel's milk. Like for example, the only milk I can drink is camel's milk. Figure. Now, so the whey protein in sports science has the best biological value. So now you start hunting for which are the best whey proteins in the world. And every company that will manufacture whey protein say, Mera to best hai. It's like all your cars. Porsche will say we're the best, Mercedes will say we're the best, Volkswagen will say the best. So ultimately you decide what you want. So here's how I do it. I look for grass-fed in whey protein, which means that cow is eating grass, right? And I don't think in India a lot of cows are eating grass nowadays, if you get my drift. So I'm looking for grass-fed whey. I'm looking for organic if possible. Then I'm looking for no sweetener, no flavor. And this is for all the athletes. Think about it. Most of you have common sense that an athlete would take a protein scoop twice a day or thrice a day. Imagine if every scoop was artificial flavor. Artificial flavor means crispy creme cookie, tropical fruit punch, chocolate. Do you know I designed a whey protein, the cost came to $12,000 a kg? Because I asked for original Belgium tempered cocoa Dutch powder. He says, Saab, आप क्या बोल रहे sir? But chocolate flavor है sir. Real chocolate नहीं है. So now you've got it, no flavors, no sweeteners. You could do stevia, you could do monk fruit, you could do mahong. These are 3 natural sweeteners available on the planet. Now you put this all together, your best bet is to buy a naked whey and add it to your banana smoothie, pure banana, berries, pure berries, and do it. Now suppose you're allergic to whey protein, you go for plant-based proteins. In the plant kingdom, you have soya, you have green pea, you have hemp protein, you have brown rice protein, you have cranberry protein, half a dozen other protein. They'll take out 2% of the protein, they'll concentrate and give it to you. Does it agree with your gut? That's what you need to do. I would go to consumerlabs.com, who does analysis of most of the American products. And being on the doping committee, we have something known as Inform Sports, NSF, and BSG, Banned Substances Group. These are organizations that give CHAPA to see that these products do not have, performance enhancement drugs in them. Because there are many companies in the world that produce their products for bodybuilding. And some of bodybuilding is going clean, but a lot of bodybuilding is still in terms of performance enhancement or steroid abuse. So from that perspective, you got to choose your thing well. I hope I've answered your question.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Please do a blood test whenever you take a protein supplement. Look at your liver function test. Look at your kidney function test. I've had a case where, 2 cases. One where a woman taking protein powder got breast cancer. And in another case, a person actually damaged their liver. Now, people will troll me on the internet saying that, where is it said? Nutrition is bio-individual, sir. The problem in today's world, we all write books and we expect 1 billion people to follow that book. But when I practice in my nutrition clinic in the last 1.5 decades, sir, I can tell you no nutrition plan has ever been the same for the person because we have a wide genetic splay of people. Cultures are different. Take me for example, I'm married an Orissa girl. East Coast meets West Coast. My son is not Nimbu Pani. He's coconut pina colada or something like that. So his genetic makeup today is completely hogwash. I have to figure out what I can feed him, and it's not based on culture. Because if I feed him something culturally, his nose is got mucus secretion. So please always look at bio-individuality, look at testing, blood testing.
Thank you so much.
I think I've got 43 seconds left. The $1 million question, and you got 39 seconds. Anyone has a question? God bless you all. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. A pleasure. And may I please request Karan Shri joins on the stage to present the token to sir. And take care of this. Thank you. Yes, if anybody has any more questions, of course you can take them outside and have a conversation with him. So Sandeep first there.
I'm the Karan with hair.
That's a nice one. Thank you so much, sir. I love your specs.
Thank you.
Sandeep, just a second.
Actually, we're matching.
The real Karan is here. I was just filling up
That's
for
okay.
him.
It's okay.
Come, Karan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really want to become fit someday, not for Olympics, but in general. वेट तो ज्यादा है भाई वही तो ज्यादा है
Thank you. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for doing
Thank you
this.
so
Really
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, sir.